Okay, we're live. Okay, we'll see how this goes. It being a third-party platform. Hello to anyone who is tuning in. Welcome to the Simply Lucid podcast. We have another interview today. If you have any questions or comments during the stream, you can feel free to comment and we can have a discussion with you all more than just talking between us. We want to open it up to people who are curious to learn more and potentially work more with us. So yeah, thank you again for taking the time to be here today. How are you doing?
Thank you so much, Kayla. And yeah, I'm so honored to be here. I'm here in the beautiful Costa Rica. It's rainy season, but right now it's like a really nice, bright, sunny day. At least right now. Probably start pouring rain later. But for those of you who don't know me or know how to pronounce my name, I'll just clear this first because I don't know if you've asked me yet. But my name is pronounced Sabre, like a saber-toothed tiger or a saber sword.
Nice. Sabre. Awesome. Yeah. So it's Sabre, and then how do you pronounce your last name?
Bruffy.
Sabre Bruffy. Awesome. I don't know if you remember, I messaged you, but I was like, I've been pronouncing your last name as butterfly or like seeing it as that, and then finally it clicked as like, that's not really butterfly, but like how the brain processes info. I was like, oh, okay. Yeah.
I like that more than Bruffy, actually. I'm still figuring out like my first name is my birth name, but my last name, we'll have to figure that out someday.
Yeah. Awesome. Well, yeah, I have been following you on social media for a while and I really like your content. So I wanted to reach out. Can you tell people who might not know what you're into a little bit more about what you do?
Yeah, that's such a big question for me because, I'm a full-time expat. I live here full-time here in Costa Rica. And I came from a background of being an artist. And well, I came from backgrounds of many things, but I was always an artist all my life, and I tried to do the whole college route and do the things that my family wanted me to do. I have a Japanese grandma, and she was really very much like, you got to go to medical school, and that's actually what I was going to do when I left high school. But going through and then finding Burning Man and finding conscious music festivals and finding fire dance and all of these different things that I found as I became an adult, I just naturally found my muse inside of the visionary and the artist community. And I was vending a lot of festivals, like it was actually like 6 years ago I came to Costa Rica, and that was kind of the point where I really came back home and realized that I really wanted to live a different life than what I was served as the, American dream. So I ended up dropping out of college and dropping out of my regular job at the time. I think I was working as like a caretaker at the time. And I started a handmade business, and I was vending at festivals all around the West Coast. I had a really awesome bus that I lived in, that I worked out of, that I traveled on. Yeah, it was a really fun time. But, from that experience, I was performing at all of my favorite festivals and vending my handmade art. So I actually handmade all my products. I was looking at the vendors like Melodia that would have their clothes made elsewhere, and then they have other people working their booth, and then they got all of this stuff down. But I was just like, I just personally didn't have the resources to make that happen for myself. So I was hand making my own products. And, it took a lot of work, and I ended up going to 26 festivals in 2019, and my whole booth turned into this store that I basically took 12 hours to set up and 12 hours to tear down every weekend. And I was performing and working the camp and just trying to do it all, right? And that's kind of around when I found the online space. And I already was doing some things on social media, things that I thought I needed to do, like posting my artwork, the sales, the prices, the discounts, the new items. Like that's all I would really post on there. And I was trying to figure out how to get my work online so it kind of can become a little bit more passive and get through some stores and all that kind of stuff. And then I ended up finding the community that I'm in now. Fast forward to that started in 2016, and that went on for 3 years. And then I found this space. It's called the Freedom Era. It's an educational platform and digital marketing community. It's basically an all-in-one resource for conscious entrepreneurs to learn how to monetize their personal brands with a high ticket offer.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is what I found when I was just trying to learn how to do this whole online thing with my art. And then I stumbled upon them, and they leverage affiliate marketing with a high ticket offer that pays 4-figure commissions, and it actually allows you to build legacy income, meaning that you actually can set yourself up for life monthly and pay it forward to future generations, whether that's your kid or like a cause or something you created, like a retreat center, whatever it is. So yeah, that was like a really big turning point for me at the beginning of 2020, right before COVID. I wasn't actually anticipating not going to festivals anymore. I still was like, okay, I'm gonna do this online thing, but I still want to like make my art and do my art. But then I started gaining traction in the online stuff, and just seeing how much work and time and energy I was putting into this, like, just endless things, endless vision that I was so attached to, but I also realized there had to be a different way, and I was seeing that happening for me. So I pivoted completely. I sold all of my inventory. I sold all of my stuff. So that's the other bonus about being online, right? No inventory. So we can travel with no inventory. So that was really was a really, really big pivot for me. And now what I do is I monetize my personal brand. And a personal brand, for those of you who don't know what that is, it's our social media, it's our platforms. And it basically means you're a stand for something, right? Or that you have these beliefs, or that you have these opinions. And it's, we spend so much time on these dang things anyway. People are just scrolling, consuming content, or they're sharing beautiful content, but not a lot of people know how to monetize it. So now that's what I do. So the main piece of what I do is really just sharing my heart and my message, my healing journey, things that inspire people, things that inspire me, because it's the same. And my transformational journey. I educate people on online business and like what is affiliate marketing, what's the difference between high ticket and low ticket, what is a personal brand, that kind of thing. And yeah, I just really speak to a lot of people who were in my position, who are visionaries, who are artists. Maybe they're dance teachers, maybe they're yoga teachers, maybe they're people who hold medicine ceremony. These are all of the kind of people that I surround myself with, that I have surrounded myself with for the whole time I was vending. And we were all broke. Like, we were all broke. Or like having good money, but then it would always have to go into things, which we always got to invest in ourselves, right? But yeah, I feel like I just found the golden goose, like the vehicle that allows us to really be fully self-expressed in the online world. So now my whole purpose here on social media is to awaken people and inspire people. Some of them may buy from me, some of them may not. But ultimately, I just want to spread more hope, like more solutions, more hope, more freedom, more inspiration, more, you'll see a lot of I'm working on a lot of sexual healing currently in my journey. I have time now, to work on that. And that's been a really big piece of the content that I share. And it's just incredible, the feedback, we don't realize the value that we have to share until we find out how to just get out of our own way and just express what's coming through, and just receive really powerful connection between people. Like we've never connected before, but now I get to share my message with your people, and then like we could always excel and collaborate and connect together. And that's the beauty of the online world. I'm no longer stuck with connecting and collaborating with just festivals. So that's in like the shortest term, my full journey.
Thank you so much for sharing. I know that the shift of having to keep track of physical inventory and then shifting digitally, I know anyone who has been through that shift, they know what you're talking about, like that feeling of lightness or what is possible now with travel, or just so much opens up in that digital space. And also, I didn't know that you made that shift like in 2020, but prior to it was like an internal shift for you, not necessarily you responding to the external circumstances. That's funny timing. I'm curious how you came to do the shift into a more digital space, as in like, did you have someone in your circle introduce you to this? Like, had you been wanting it for a while, or did it come kind of quickly and then you knew you wanted that? So how was that transformation or pivot?
Yeah, that's a good question. And like, I will forever remember the moment, because what we do is attraction marketing, right? We build this beautiful content, this know, like, and trust content for anyone building personal brands. Just hearing this is really going to be valuable for anybody who has a business too, because gosh, the stuff I learned in this, I'm like, if only I knew that when I was just working so hard offline.
Yes.
You know? When you learn how to do these skills in a personal brand, it doesn't matter if you have a coaching program or your art or your affiliate stuff, like, you're gonna learn how to really do this. So I found a woman who was already doing this with this business specifically. And actually in that moment, I had just hired some people to help me make the things. Like, they were my, I guess, designs of what you could call it, but I didn't go to, Bali and have them make a big old thing of it and then bring it back. Like, these were like ritual artware. Like I made headpieces for belly dancers and earrings and just things that were very precious to me.
Yeah.
So the kind of people that I wanted to help me had to be pretty aligned, right? I had trouble with that. I had trouble with that, and I remember just not feeling aligned with so many of the people that I was surrounding myself with, whether it was like helping me in my booth or, modeling, like all kinds of stuff, even dance, like people I was connecting with in dance. I had a lot of great connections still within that, but some were just not aligned in ways that, I kind of felt like I was, what would you say? I'm so obsessed with my dreams, right? Like, I'm a visionary. I definitely had more of an abundant mindset than the people I was surrounding myself with at the time. I still had a lot of work to do, and we're always going to have work to do on our abundance mindset. There's never a limit. But at the time, I feel like I was just kind of growing in my entrepreneur stuff, like on the mindset stuff, on the money stuff, on the frequency, all of this stuff. And people weren't really vibing at that rate. And I just, there was this big mismatch that was very clear to me one day, and I was just crying. I remember like leaving this girl's house that was making my art, and I like went in my bus on the driver's seat, and I'm just like crying because I was just like, I'm just like trying so hard, right? Trying so hard. So naturally, I go on Facebook to numb myself out. And I go and I'm like, and then it's one of the first posts I saw. It's this woman. She's now a really great friend of mine. She's the woman who introduced me to this space. She's one of my mentors. Her name's Gemini Hanwi, and she's a sound healer. She also did vending in the past as well. She also she's a single mom now, but she did fire dancing. She loves ecstatic dance. She's into medicine circles. All of the things, right? So I saw a post of her. She also lived in the same town where I lived at the time, which was Santa Cruz, California. And she's sitting there where I know this is Santa Cruz, right? And she's playing her didgeridoo. And then the caption said something very simple, and it was like, I can't remember the exact words, but it's something about like making a multiple 6 and 7 figure business through your phone, sharing you and your unique message. This is your time, or something like that. It was so simple, and I was just like, I was at that point where I was like, I definitely need something different. I did not ever hear of people speaking that, where there were people who were like my kind of people, right?
Yes,
so that was a really big connection there for me.
Yes.
And then at first I didn't follow through with her because I got lost in the sauce of my own stuff. But then she followed up with me and she reminded me, and I ended up watching a webinar, which now I do my own webinars, and just like this one that I watched. But I watched this one, listened to it while I was making earrings. Earring and earring and earring after earring for this shop that was going to take 60% of the commissions anyway. And I remember sitting there while they're introducing themselves and all that kind of stuff. I'm counting. I'm like, okay, $30 an hour for wholesale. Like, that's not bad. I was like, that's not bad. And so that was where I lived. And then they started talking about high ticket, for one, something that's not like just 30, 50, hundreds of dollars, something that's multiple 4 figures in commissions. I was like, all right, well, that's definitely something I don't have. And then they started talking about leverage, which is like, you know, what I was trying to recreate, having training these people so then there could be things happening for me, so I'm not the one showing up and doing all the work.
Yep.
Just having more duplication, right? Where it's like you do one thing one time and then it can continue to compound and ripple and make you more money. And then the third pillar they talked about was automation. Or maybe it was leverage and automation, I think, together. Just, leveraging the automation, like just things that are working on the back end so you could actually make money in your sleep.
Yep.
Like, combine those two together, and I'm sitting there looking at like all of these feathers on the table, and I was just like, okay. You know, first thing that went through my head was too good to be true, right?
Yes.
Like when we see something, this is what I've found now is definitely a slave grid for us to like think something, because naturally we need to have discernment, right, on the things that we find. Like, is the vibe right? Is it, you know, there's many factors. It's different for everybody, but definitely mine, I had all kinds of things of just like, is this real? Is this a scam? Like, is this da 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 da? And one of the women was from Australia in this webinar, and the other woman actually was also living in Santa Cruz. So the Santa Cruz thing really helped bridge the gap for me, because I was like, these people are literally like probably up the street from me. So I got to actually meet them in person, and I got to go through what we call a discovery process, which is the process that people get to go through after they watch a webinar. If it resonates, they go through the discovery process. And in that process, you get to answer a series of questions. And I had never asked myself a lot of these questions, like, what does my perfect day look like? What's stopping me from living that perfect day? I can't remember all the specifics right now, but like they were really powerful questions, right? And I just, like I said at the time, I wanted to do both, because I was like, I really see this. I really do see this. But I also like have built this and put so much time, love, and energy in it, and money. And I mean, it really only took 2 weeks for me to actually decide that I'm never gonna make an earring again for a store. I was like, I'm just not gonna do it. And for people who want to do it, like, I'll say this. I want to say this because it's not to disregard anyone who is making amazing art, and I would love to come back and make art someday. But the thing that I didn't do correctly is I started with headpieces, right? And then I'd go to an event. I don't know how to market. I don't know how to find my niche or anything at the time. I didn't know any of this shit. Oh, pardon me.
No, feel free to cuss. Yes.
Okay, perfect. I didn't know any of this stuff, but what I did was, you know, I'd go to an event and maybe I wouldn't sell a headpiece, and then I get discouraged, and I'm like, well, what did they want? People are like, do you have earrings? Do you have kratom? Do you have rape? Do you have this? And I'm like, okay, so like I do also love these things, so it makes sense, right? Like have more inventory and carry these things. And then it turned into a store, as I said. Like I had myself spread thin instead of like listening to what I wanted to channel through my creations and stay in that power and in that knowing and in that trust that that is going to, you know, because that's absolutely what I'm learning through this space too. I'm just not applying it to that business anymore because I'm just not doing that business anymore. But whatever business you're doing, if you just trust in that space that you're doing what your soul's work is, and you're always in constant connection with your soul, right? And also you got to learn how to market, right? You got to learn how to find your niche, get the stuff in front of the people who do want what you have, you know, not go to any event that will let you set up a table.
Exactly.
Right? So yeah, like it was a really great experience to learn that. And it's not to say that I will never make art again for sale, because I see myself doing that because I'm really great at it. Oh my God, and I love doing it. Right now I don't have any supplies because I'm just traveling around, but just like now I know too, this is another thing that I can share with people who do want to still do their art and just have another stream of income. It's like everything that I've learned in this space through our educational platform. You know, when I was working on selling my inventory to leave to Costa Rica, I couldn't even believe how fast my inventory left because of how I was working the online space then. And it wasn't just about just saying, here's my thing and here's my discounts, here's how much it cost. It was like I was missing the personal brand piece, right? That know, like, and trust content. And now it's like anything that I put out, people really, really want it and they love it. So, man, I think I flew into, you were asking me what was the pivot. So that's really the pivot. That was really the pivot, you know, seeing that I needed to change because it wasn't working. It wasn't because of COVID, but obviously 3 months later, I was like, well, that was good timing. Maybe we should go to Costa Rica.
Yeah, exactly. That was another element I wanted to ask you about. So you pivoted from vending lots of different items, being spread really thin, doing the festival circuit, to being more focused in the online space. And then I'm curious, do you consider yourself a digital nomad, or how has working online and traveling been for you?
Well, in essence, right, a digital nomad is somebody that works on their phone or their laptop from anywhere in the world. So yeah, I would consider myself a digital nomad. It's not necessarily the word I always use for some reason.
Yeah,
I guess.
I was going to say, I feel like digital nomad has a connotation of not being in the vibrational space that we are in, like people who are into ceremony, meditation, ecstatic dance, all of that. I feel like digital nomad can have a connotation of, I'm working at a job I hate, but hey, I get to like sit on the beach to do it. You know what I mean? So if you have alternative terms for like the lifestyle, I'm super open to hearing them.
Yeah, there's that. Yeah, it is a very, very broad term. Like a digital nomad could be someone like me who just is online a couple hours a day, Monday through Friday, and has all of this automation, right? Or it could be someone who, like, I have met people like this who will come and do their 9 to 5s, you know, but they're like at the Selena hostel here, just like in the workspace, still 9 to 5. So it's like, but they get to be here, which is still awesome. But yeah, it's just such a broad term. I don't feel like it really comes to that frequency. I'm still kind of playing with that word. Like, I like the word content creator or digital creator. I love the word visionary because I don't know. I feel like visionary is such a blanket term for all of these amazing people that I met at festivals who were really wanting to bring in the new earth, right?
Yeah.
Of like their medicine, their work, and their art and their music. And to me, that's visionary. Like when you think of like visionary art, right? Like that's like our consciousness coming through in our work. So I feel like I use the word visionary a lot and digital creator. So visionary digital creators. I also use the word personal brand a lot, just like monetizing a high profit personal brand. Because a lot of people at this point know what a personal brand is.
Yeah.
You know, there's like, because we've pivoted so much online, people do realize what I realized back then was just like, oh, like it's not just about me posting my stuff. It's actually more about who I am as a person and the actual, like, my soul signature, my soul frequency codes that are wanting to actually come through. And that's what attracts people to want to purchase from me. So I think in essence, a lot of people do know what a personal brand is. So sometimes I use just that too.
Yeah, that makes sense. And as far as Costa Rica, had you been traveling there before in your old way of doing business, or this is newer for you?
So when I came to Costa Rica for Envision Festival, it's a beautiful conscious music festival here in Uvita, where I'm living right now. But I went, it's almost 7 years ago, I think now, but you know, I was still going to school. I actually grew up in foster care, and when I got out of foster care, I was in this awesome thing called it was like a transitional housing program. They paid my rent. It was so nice. But they only did it if you go to school full time or you're working a regular job full time, or at least half and half on both.
Yeah.
So I was in that at the time. I was living alone. I was like, you know, psychedelics and all that kind of stuff and fire spitting. Like I was in Santa Cruz at the time. So that was fun. But I left. I didn't tell them I was leaving because they weren't going to let me leave, but I was just going to go. Actually, a drunk driver hit my car while it was parked, and I walked outside, and it was completely trashed. And they ended up compensating me. I think it was like $6,000 or something like that. It was the most money I've ever had at the time. I was like 18 years old. And I was like, I'm going to go to Envision. So I actually bought my ticket and bought all the things. I tried to buy another car, and I thought I was going to come back and do the whole thing all over again, but that car ended up crapping out on me too. So I took it as a sign for the universe that I was not meant to have a car. I was meant to go to Costa Rica. So I went there for 5 weeks. And in that 5 weeks, I got introduced to like energy healing, and I met all of these artists selling their art on the street. You know, still at the time I was in college, and yeah, just lots of cataclysmic. It was very I think that's the word I'm trying to use. It was a catalyst for my journey when I came back. To California, you know, sitting in my class, I'm like,
yeah, it's like you went to Oz, now you're back in Kansas, like, oh shit.
Yeah, and that happened to me with Burning Man too, kind of similar thing. I met all these people that were doing all these awesome things, and they're just like, this is what I do, and I'm like, huh? You don't have a degree?
Yeah.
What's that word? So that was really my first experience in Costa Rica. I'd never traveled anywhere before. Like my family didn't ever do that with me. So that was really powerful for me, and it shook me up, and it had me change and start that whole business and do that whole thing. My whole intention was to start a business so I could go and sell my art and travel. But then 5 years went by. 5 years went no travel. Because I was trying to like make all the things happen, you know, with my art business and performing, and I just got vortexed and obviously very, very busy. But then our community, the Freedom Era, they have this event called Freedom Fest, and it was in Australia last year in March. It happened. I went to Australia. I was like 3 months into this business. And right after this powerful personal brand, like friggin' visionary, personal development, amazing expansion, like quantum event, the Monday, the whole world went on lockdown. So that was interesting. And then I went back, and that was the first time I had traveled after 5 years. You know, but this time I was a digital nomad all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And so I came back. I still had my bus. I ended up selling my bus before I came here too, because we ended up landing in like a cabin. We decided to not travel around during the whole full lockdown that it was, and just hunker down on our online businesses and learn a lot. But eventually, I read the 4-Hour Work Week.
Yes, classic.
Yeah, I listened to the 4-Hour Work Week. Chapter 1 was done, and I looked at my partner Tristan, and I was like, we should go to Thailand. I was like, what are we doing here? We work online now. Like, why are we here? I don't understand. But Thailand was a little bit complicated. I ended up having a cat, so my cat is a little complicated to take to Thailand right now specifically. It's in general a little bit complicated to go to Thailand anyway. So we ended up choosing Costa Rica. So, you know, I had already been years and years before, but I was like, you know, my partner's never been out of the country besides the Australia thing, and then we came here. So we just sold everything. I sold my bus. I sold almost all of my inventory. Honestly, there was so much inventory. We still have a storage that's like, I don't want to go back and deal with that storage, but we'll have to someday. But yeah, we came here in December 28th, so it was like almost a year, because I started January 3rd, 2020 into this business, and then we came here just with nothing but a couple bags, and I have my fire props, some costume pieces and things like that. And yeah, now we're here. So I thought that I was going to be here selling handmade art, but now I realize how much especially now, how much these people are really struggling, you know, and how much like, just with our art. And I'll go to these gatherings and things like that too, but you know, even then it's like I see so much shifting with money that I've done, where it seems like a lot of people still, it's almost like they don't want to charge for their beautiful gifts, and I'm just like, man, okay, well, charge what you want, but like, how are we going to be abundant if we don't, like, to me at this point, it's a no-brainer to have something online, right? To have an asset. The word asset, I didn't even know what an asset was until the discovery process. It was like, what assets do you have? I'm like, I don't know. But now I have this. I know I have this because it's going to be able to pay me for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
The model is like, you don't have any of these like monthly quotas or things like that. So like if you need to take a month off or like, you know, a few weeks or even a year or whatever, like our life ebbs and flows, right?
Exactly.
So I like to have a business that whatever happens around me, I can kind of honor what's going on and honor what I need to do. And if that is not be online for a bit and allow that to just like be there and come back and start back right up where I started, that's really, I feel like, the best thing for us, you know? And yeah, so there's a lot of people doing it very, very many different ways. When you say digital nomad, there's like a plethora of different kinds that I've met, but there's still a lot of work that people do with a lot of what they do. And it's not that I guess I don't like working. I don't like working. But I also do like building my dreams. But I don't like feeling like it's work.
Yeah. Exactly. And I feel like you've hit on some key themes to shift that consciousness around work and money. One of them being going from $30 an hour and being like, yeah, that's cool compared to making nothing, but then shifting that to 4 figures or 5 figures or 6 figures, and like playing with that in the mental space, but also building community and connecting with people that are actively doing that and then can help show you how to get there yourself. So it's like expanding that container for how much we can earn in exchange for our energy. And then there's automation, being able to make money while we sleep, the passive income aspect to it. I think building systems for that is super, super, super cool. And then another aspect is just meeting people at that place of feeling weird charging anything or charging a lot. And back to the first point, really expanding like how much we can feel okay with charging, or going into why we feel not okay with charging that. Like in the programs you've been through, they've really gone into not only the business aspect of like how to build your personal brand and how to market, but how much, say, like processing or psychology have they brought into what they're teaching? Because I feel like that, like, the mindset shifts are so vital, but need to be partnered with like the practical business systems as well.
Yeah, I didn't know about this until I came into this community too. They really have an 80% inner work, 20% strategy. So like the strategy is already done for you, right? Like you don't need to go set up your own automations. You don't need to find your own high ticket offer or create this whole program. It's already done. But there's still things we need to do, right? Like create content or follow up with people or just learn more trainings, right? But then the 80% is really just your inner work, like having a gratitude practice. They share this book called The Magic from Rhonda Burns. It's a 28-day gratitude practice, and that's something that we used to share about in the webinars too. That, and then there's another book they talked about called The Happy Pocket Full of Money. I should actually talk about that in my webinars again, because I actually, before I went and dove deeper into this community, I looked into those books and I realized, I was like, wow, there's a whole nother world out there, right? The Happy Pocket Full of Money is very quantum. It's very like just on like the energies of money and abundance. And the Magic is a 28-day gratitude practice. So you know, we think we're grateful when we say thank you for things, but like that 28-day practice, it's meant to do each day for a whole 28 days, and it just it takes you on the whole journey of every little sliver that we can be grateful for. So it's a lot of gratitude, morning practice, working on your money story. Like at this point, like, you know, if no one's making 10K months or whatever it is that their financial goal is, you definitely need to work on your money story, right? It's definitely our money story, our money blueprint, and we all have it. Like lots of us had parents who grew up in the Depression, and then way before that, like there are so many slaves in our generations. Like humanity has had slaves in almost every culture, it seems like, so we've had like so much of all of this stuff. So the 80% inner work and 20% strategy, I had that completely backwards when I was doing my last business. But they even talk about sexual energy, they talk about embodiment, getting in touch with nature, having boundaries with your phone. That's a really big one, especially if you're going to be online.
Yeah.
And ultimately, because like you can know the strategy, like how to post or how to create awesome looking content, but if your vibe isn't right, it really transmutes through, and people will see that, people will feel that, whether it's in a video, whether it's in a post or whatever it is, like written, it doesn't really matter. Energy transmits. So they're very aware of that. They're all into cacao. Like we have a freedom cacao from Peru. They're all into like meditation. There's a woman actually that I'm working with right now who teaches in our platform. Her name is Gabby Kowalski from Australia. She's a quantum evolution business coach, and she teaches multi-dimensional marketing, and she's got a training in there called multi-dimensional marketing, and then she has one called Soul Avatar. And that, like, learning about multi-dimensional marketing, it's very like, she has you go through this process where you're taking yourself out of the globe into the quantum and looking down at the earth, as if like lights come on, golden lights come on around the earth where your people are, who are meant to hear from you, almost like the lights are turning on in a house. So you see all of them, and then you have this like gold cord from your heart to them, and you're breathing into your heart and just listening to what it is that they want you to share, or just giving them love, just saying I'm there for you and sending love to them, but also tuning in and listening to what it is that they want you to share. So when you have that kind of practice, that's what follows your content. That's what guides your content. That's what guides your webinars or your programs that you create, or your containers or your retreats or whatever it is. So she really landed for me in like a really, really awesome way, because I've done a lot of mindset stuff. I've done a lot of, the how on just like hashtags on it's like all these things, right? But what I love about her is she really speaks to like the greatest strategy that you'll ever use is talking with your soul. Like the algorithms could be whatever it's going to be, but like the greatest strategy is when you are in alignment with your soul. And all of these people that teach in the platform are the people who created the platform. They're a couple from Australia. They're a really beautiful couple, Christy Ord and Clint Morgan, but they've both studied with all of these people, so they also are on that vibe too. They've spent millions of dollars like learning from all of these high level people in Facebook ads, high level people in Facebook groups, high level people in quantum mastery, and they're all there. So that there's a lot of like, it's mostly personal development. I feel like this is really more like a personal development journey tied with a compensation plan, because you have your compensation plan, and then your journey is what you do, and then you transmit that in your content, right? However that is. Maybe it comes out in humor, sharing my sexuality, or me and my partnership and the journey we're going through, or my travels and things like that. So that 80% inner work is like, it's a game changer.
And like not only the 80% inner work, but like from a quantum lens, like even beyond the mind or the intellect, beyond just the heart, but at the soul level. I think that is super, super cool. Thank you again. We're nearing the end of our chat here. I just wanted to open up the space, and to anyone that resonated with so much of the juicy bits that you offered, like, what is the next step people can take to work with you or come into alignment with what you've been offering?
So right now, well, since this will be evergreen, I'll tell you like the way that you can check it out anytime, no matter what time you're watching this. But I have a webinar, and it's about, sometimes they're 30 minutes, sometimes they're a little longer. It kind of depends on when you reach out to me, really.
Mm-hmm.
But I do webinars where I teach people that exact stuff that I was learning when I was making all those earrings and learning about this. But I talk about the 3 pillars of what it takes to have a high profit personal brand online without ever selling a thing. Because essentially we do have an affiliate, we're affiliated with a product, but because it's done with automation, you get to be in your own genius zone and create your own content and let the automation do the selling for you. So that's why I say, like, without ever physically selling a thing. So the 3 pillars are, number 1 is affiliate marketing, 2 is high profit, high impact, something that's good for you, the people, and the planet, and number 3 is automation. So I talk about those 3 pillars so people can kind of digest the bigger picture. And then I talk about the high ticket offer. I talk a little bit about numbers, but I also talk about like what's in the platform and a little bit of back end showing and things like that. So that's the way you can watch it. It's free. You would just have to reach out to me on my Facebook page and just send me a message.
Cool. Awesome. Well, yes, again, thank you so much for being on the show. I love exploring the intersectionality between business and entrepreneurship, but also, the personal development, the heart-centered work, the soul work. And I feel like so much of what you talked about hits right at that spot, which is like super unique and just so juicy and fulfilling for me to be in that energy, be in that vibration, and like speak a similar language with someone who's been through it.
Oh, yay. Thank you so much for having me, sister. And it was truly a pleasure. I actually haven't been able to be interviewed yet on like just my journey about this whole lifestyle. So it's been really, really awesome to be able to share that. Thank you.
Yes. Have an awesome rest of your day. And thank you to everyone who tuned in. I hope you were inspired, at least of a morsel.
No doubt.
Yes.
Have a good one, everybody.
Yeah, take care.
Bye.
Bye.